All right. All praises to a higher family. We are back. You're going to be all right, lady. Just bless his holy set apart name. In him you will be confident. Praise a higher. Praise a higher. We will not have any disturbances. Praise a higher. Praise a higher. How's the sound, guys? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? How's my audio? Can you hear me? All praise to Ahaya, in the name of Yeshua. Ahaya, we give you the glory, the honor, and the praise for clear connection, for perfect sound. We thank you, Ahaya. They can hear me? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, like I wanted to share. Okay. So the dream I had was like it was a bunch of students sitting at desk. We were all sitting down. Okay. And next thing I know, I saw like a temple. Okay. And then I saw the gates. And I remember he said in Isaiah 54 also that he will make our gates of crystals. Hold on. No, it's not Isaiah 54. Is it 45? Yeah, it's got to be 54. It is 54. Yeah, it is. Yeah, right here, verse 12. It says, and I will make thy windows, I will add gates, thy gates of carbuncles, and thy borders of pleasant stones. Okay, so this is what this one says over here in Isaiah 54. But in my Aramaic, I want to read it out of this one. Bear with me, beloved brothers and sisters. Okay. Okay. Verses 12. And I will make your walls of jasper and your gates of crystal and your borders of precious stones. So the reason why I wanted to read that was because in the dream, I saw like it was like all his like just different students, just people like sitting at desk, and they were wearing white. Okay, and we were just like learning, and then I saw the temple, but the part that really narrowed into me that was up close was like as if one. Well, he showed me, it was me behind the gate, and the gate was like crystal where you could see through it, and I was walking like this. And I believe the reason why the gate will be crystal is because it's like precious, beautiful, like you know how you was to see like ice like from the roof and it's dropped, but like suppose it was like crystal gate. Just imagine that. That is beautiful. All by itself, the different like points and levels, but you're not getting above. You're not. If you try to climb it, you're gonna slide down that crystal. And you might puncture yourself on the very very top of it. Okay, and also you can see through. And so when you think about when I believe in Nehemiah or I think it's one of the prophets where they were keeping the Shabbat and the other little nations would try to sit at the gates and wait for the Shabbat to answer or wait in case somebody want to come outside the gates and try to buy and sell. Well, the reason for he's let me know that the reason for the gates being crystal is so that we can see through and anybody trying to come because our defense is going to be like you can't hide, you can't, you're not going to be able to puncture it, you're not going to be able to and we understand it says he's going, we're not going to have walls, we're going to be a city built without walls, but the representation of our gates, which is the entry to our direct dwelling into our cities and everything like that, is to let us know that anybody who's outside of the gate, you're not going to be able to hide. You're not going to be able to try to do anything wicked. You can't. It's like they say throwing rocks at a crystal or glass wall or glass house, but this is not glass. This is crystal, and this is thick. And so, just when he says he's going to build our stuff, we're the temple. First, in the dream, it was us sitting down learning. And in order, like I said it before, when we were on, I came back that day out of First Peter's 2:9, by us being a generation of priests that hold on, Mom, could you please go handle that and see what's going on? Because Zebediah is being a disturbance. I can sense it. What should I do for him? Tell him to come out. No, just mediate and get a switch.
Listen to me.
Hold on. Okay, thank you. On my video, so my video is still real reenacting. I gotta get this out. Oh my gosh, what? Oh wow, I guess we got a lot more devices on. That's all. And that's
Devices.
man.
Turn this off.
Yeah, turn it off for me. Thank you, Mom. I don't. So because we are a generation of priests, family, and we're being built by now right now in the learning of his truth. The nation, the Most High's true house, his true temple, his body, his real body was never able to be the light it was supposed to be because it wasn't. He was the one that's going to build it. Everything else before the Most High's work was not his building. This is why all these things were, what you say, built on sand. Okay, like the story of the three little pigs, house of straws and houses of, you know, whatever, but not houses solid upon the word. And so, by the Most High saying to us in Isaiah 54:8, in a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith the High Life Redeemer. He's now letting us know it's obvious that we're at the place with the Most High Higher in His mercy, and because we're not at His mercy, in His mercy, He is by His grace fashioning us because he's gracious. He's not like, oh my gosh, you were over here doing this, that, and the practices, so I'm gonna have to show you how to do this. He's gracious even in it. That you just gotta marinate on, family. And I tell you, because I remember seeing it from a distance back at my old house in a video I had called "A City Set on a Hill" or "The New Jerusalem." I'm not quite sure the title, and I got to see it, and it was on top of a mountain. But from a distance, you could see the precious, like the stones. You could see the creation. It was just like wow. And I was down low, and I can, would you say, a valley. And as I'm looking towards the mountain and the hill, which was Mount Zion, and the city was like the New Jerusalem was sitting on top of it, I knew it was New Jerusalem. And there was things on this natural, like where I was at in the valley, like what you say, valley of shadow of death, was trying to distract me, but it wasn't worth it. It wasn't distracting me. Nothing in our now that is trying to deter us from what's ahead is as precious as what's ahead. And so, like when we read in First Peter 2:9, ye are also lively stones, precious to the Most High. You understand? You got to be careful, and there's a certain way you handle precious things. And so that is the understanding of the grace, how He's handling us and the growing with Him in this work as we're learning. Sitting at desk, you think about the way it puts you in the mind of school age, you know? And so, though we may be different ages, coming from different places of life and creeds and backgrounds and cultures, as being tribal people scattered where we were, we're gonna all be taught by Him, because it says that verse 14. No, let's go up to here to verse 13. And all thy children shall be taught of a higher, and great shall be the peace of thy children. And when you think about the great of the peace of thy children, we gotta get a great what would be the word? We gotta grasp in a great way that, because he said over there in Deuteronomy 25, not 25, excuse me, Deuteronomy 28, that he would visit the iniquity into the third and fourth generation of those who hate him. And so when he visits them, it's not going to be hey, want to have a party. It was visiting them with wrath, with judgment, with turmoil and all that judgment, right? So when you say when we read from verses 8, mercy, and then over here he says in 7, for a small moment I have forsaken thee, but with great mercy will I gather thee. So it's like you see all your precious gems, you're going to get them together. They were like probably in a treasure chest with mud and ash on them, so you're going to wash them off and you're going to pick them up, each with a little shining cloth. We call it buffeting, or buffing the cloth, the stone, and setting it in its place preciously. You can't really give each stone its respected shine with a bunch of the stones in your hand. So every single one of us are going to receive that intimate, uh, personal cleansing and entwining. But when we come together, we're gonna be like, oh, yeah, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be like precepting each other and um giving confirmation to each other and just exhorting one another. And it's just gonna be a beautiful, gleaming sight to see. And so when we read over here in verses 13, and thy children shall be taught of a higher, when our children are taught of a higher, then that goes to show you why he's being gracious, because he knows we weren't taught of him. He told us in Jeremiah 17 that we would lose our heritage and that we would no longer, learn of him. So by us learning of him, then he's being by him being the teacher, we in no wise by his mercy and grace have any room to fail. This is the part of perfection, having its perfect work, entirely wanting nothing. And this is why, yes, we are excited that we will soon be redeemed. But the appreciation that I'm having towards the process, it's like showing us just how valuable patience is, and important patience is for our growth, because he wants us to be perfect entirely, wanting nothing, not wanting to overcome this, not wanting to not be condemned for that, not wanting to concern ourselves with the past, not wanting to worry about tomorrow, but just being perfect entirely, beloveds. So verse 14, in righteousness shalt thou be established. So in unrighteousness we were trying to be established, but we were, as a people, were not able to be established. So we thank Ahia that he's establishing us with his gracious mercies as he is building his home. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's go to verse 12 really quick. And I will make thy windows of thy gates, and thy gates of carbuncles, and thy borders of pleasant stones. Okay. I'm reading out the Ahia version now, so that's why I didn't say crystal. And all thy children shall be taught of a height, and great shall be the peace of thy children. In righteousness thou shalt be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression. See, righteousness is what keeps us away from oppression. So as I was going through my community in my hood, we're supposed to see oppression because we did not see righteousness. So if we don't see righteousness, this is why they are keeping us in sin. This is why they promote the paganism ritual practices, because, and guess where the money goes to? It goes to the Jewish leaders, which are the synagogue of Satan. So their temples are being magnified and exalted and glorified by our iniquity and sins and unrighteousness. But by obedience, we're going to automatically be establishing and building up our temple, and their temples are going to be impoverished. They're going to be in oppression. This is the importance of our obedience, right? And us making sure we're not just content in our own obedience, but that we make sure our brothers and sisters and those of our families who are, still being trodden, get out, lend a hand to reach out and to pull, and pull them in. All right. I hear talking in there. All right. We're at Isaiah 54, verses 14. Thank you. Yes, Isaiah 54. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear. Fear is, let me tell you something, family. Fear comes from condemnation. It comes from torment. It comes, it not comes from torment. Condemnation, which will bring fear, which will torment you. But we are commanded, there's a commandment of us to only be thou strong, courageous. Mommy? Yes. Okay, well, I'm going to deal with that. You just want to get him in trouble. Okay, we're not going to do that, Zebediah. You behave in there. Ziara, princess. You hear me? You watching me, Ziara? Zebediah cuts up. I want you to let him know he will be in trouble when the sun's down, or tomorrow he will not be jumping on trampolines. You want to be in timeout and punishment? Keep cutting up. You want to be rewarded? Make a higher please. I'm commanding you to be obedient. In the mighty name of Yeshua. Thank you, Father, for peace in the home. All right. Isaiah 54 verses, yes, we're talking about fear. Thank you, Father. So understanding that sin brings forth fear, as we see in the story of Adam and Eve. When they transgressed against the Most High, they hid themselves. So fear will try to cause us to hide ourselves from Him as the Most High because of sin. But when we read up here, it says in verse 8, He said, "In a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment." So the Father was angry with our sin, and because He was angry and also hurt, He hid Himself. So Him hiding His face from us and us hiding ourselves from Him, our very our source of our strength, our power, our lifeline. We being, it's like a baby being born in its fifth month or seventh month. On, you're not ready. You don't know what this world has out here for you. And being out in this world unprepared, which is without our power, there's other wolves who don't mind devouring much flesh. And by your fear, they can prowl on that. They can add to that. That's a soil for the wicked ones. Because He has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and a spirit of love and a spirit of a sound mind. This is a shame. They can hear it. It's not about that. He's cutting up, and I really just think of higher that He shall come into obedience. I'm not gonna hold on. Pardon me, family. Bear with me. Don't make me tell you again. Put that down. Quiet. Now, good job. Somebody, Dion. Zebra, come here. No, never mind. Zara, come here, princess. My princess. Thank you, Princess Zebra. If you could get this laptop, I want y'all to do this here for y'all because it could be boring. There's these little together and play read along books. And y'all can read all these with the read alongs. Okay, there's one right there, and I got another one. It's in Zion's room. And here's the little laptop.
Oh, these are like the classic.
Exactly. So just take those. Y'all can hook that up. If after y'all read that, then y'all can do some like Bible pathway adventures, something that's more, it's gonna keep them occupied.
Yeah.
All right, because the enemy takes advantage when the children get bored. I know their attention span's a little short. Thank you, Princess.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, family, for your patience. So we gotta make sure that we're every day dispersing, dismissing, and denouncing sin so that fear cannot come in. And therefore condemnation and torment. All right. Where we at? Okay. So thou shalt not fear. When he says whenever we read the Father's word saying thou shalt not fear, he said, you're not even going to be able to fear because there's going to be no sin coming in. When I'm teaching you all, because guess what? I saw in the dream last night, it was all us in white as sitting at desk and we were looking up, we were learning. We didn't see the teacher, but it says here, but I heard Isaiah 54 verse 8. So I know if he says in this same chapter that I'm going to teach your children of me, then that means in order for the children to be taught, that also applies to us too. We're going to be taught. But if he's teaching the children and we're not teaching the children, as the children are being taught, we're in agreement because we're all his children. Okay. So from terror, and for it shall not come near thee. So that means the accuser who wants to bring the terror due to the condemnation of the fear because of the sin within is not going to be able to come near because why? We have the victorious one who's near. He's within us. The lively one, the one who who causes the stone to glow. Because this is what we're trying to grasp right now, family. What we're trying to understand, not trying to see is that we are stones to him. But when the light of the world comes within, it's one thing to see a precious stone when light hits it. But imagine light being within that stone I'm telling you, that's a beautiful picture, family. Well, that's what he's trying to tell you in the word concerning Isaiah 54 and 1 Peter 2:9. because we're to be living sacrifices. So that's why the sacrifice of flesh is done away with, because it's flesh. Flesh, when you kill an animal, it's not lively no more. And by the animals, all creation being alive testify of him. He is, it witnesses that he is he lives, because man did not make these animals. These animals didn't come out of nowhere. So even the testimony of things that are living, all things that are living, give glory to the Most High. They are testimonies of him. This is another reason why a dead animal sacrifice cannot glorify him. So by us being the temple and offering up, see, nothing ain't changed. We're the generation of priests that offer up living sacrifices by our livelihoods in his word, which is living. And the light within inside of us goes amongst the deaf, and it makes the deaf be over to, it's like the deaf and the sin and the darkness has to comply. Because when I was walking in the neighborhood, I know it's been some time since my brothers and sisters see me in the hood. It ain't been too long, because I go through there every now and then. When I was living at my old address, and I always was, every time I could be any way I could be an opportunity to be a light, I'm gonna do it. But what I could tell, what they see is like as if somebody came out of a cave, out of a graveyard, a Lazarus situation. And no, this Lazarus didn't have on the mummified garments, but it had on royal garments. And I'm not talking about my clothing. I'm talking about my inward man shining outward, being what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my fruits of the Spirit. I'm wearing my compassion. I'm going to wear love. I'm going to wear long suffering. I'm going to wear gentleness and meekness and patience. And that is what the broken and the sick need. All right. Verse 15, behold, they shall surely gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. So anybody that's trying to come against his gather is because no, he says surely they shall gather, but they're not gathering by me. In other words, they're not gathering by my word, so they're not solid. They're not grounded. They're not rooted. It won't stand. It won't be able to last. It's artificial. It's fake. It's going to tarnish. And they're gathering together. He's talking about, because what is gathering? What they call gathering? Assembly. What we do when we come together, a holy convocation. So when he put that word gathering there, he said, it ain't just an army. This is the gathering of those who profess to try to be holy and righteous, but their gathering is not of him. And why are they gathering? It's what we call the hypocrites versus the solid ones. Because the artificials were for so long looking like they were, but they're not. And guess what? The fact that the artificial was able to go first, and everybody thought that was what it was. Then when the solid stands, it makes more of a. Now you got to compare two things. Like the word says, what was that, Mom? What was that? Can you remember real quick? Was it in Ecclesiastes 12 when it said, one person can be heard until another person tell their story? It says one person seems to be looking like they're right, but if another person tell their perspective, then the man has to judge by what he's saying. I think my pocket was still in the truck. All right. Well, bottom line, family. Like if say you go to court, and the person saying, I ain't did nothing wrong. So and so was this and third. No, thank you, that's a better example. A couple. The man was all the while wicked. He telling everybody, she wasn't no good. She ain't know how to cook how I like it, and she would refuse to just, give it to me this way and do it that way. And
you would smack me hard.
Zeb, I want you to sit right here.
Why? I'm not going to.
Oh, I'm so sick and tired of this. Do tapping. time for that nonsense. Now, and so when one person tell their story, I ain't trying to insult y'all intelligence like we like some retarded people. I'm pretty sure y'all have clarity on what I'm saying. But perhaps there could be someone who's not, who doesn't understand what I'm trying to say, beloved. What I'm saying, family, is that when one person tells their story, the side of the story, it looks like, oh, that's right, and this and the third. But when another person stands up and says something, others must consider and compare the two. So the artificial, the leavening of the awakening was the first thing people remember. What would you say? Some people get mad, like, why can't we just come together and love our brothers? And listen. We have to understand that the tares look like wheat. They're still amongst us. So because they're amongst us, we just can't be loose willy-nilly out here and naive to the fact that there are tares who want to become wheat. Not become, they want to look like wheat. A tare can't transform into a wheat. It's a tare. So until the king comes and separates, we got to use discernment properly in identifying the real from the fake. And the only way we can do that, first of all, if our hearts are pure, if we're busy being real, then we ain't really we're concerned ourselves with the fakes because they're concerning themselves with the real. See, the real don't concern themselves with the fakes. They just have to duck and dodge the things that are identified with the fakes because they're out here being real and they don't want to be identified with that. And they know by not being identified with that, then people look at the fakes like, hey, what's up with this, that, and the third? And so when our nation began to awake, and we had brothers, gentlemen on the corners, with hypocrisy, not all of them. I would say I'm sure there are some brothers who were genuinely going to the corners because it brought them out of their nonsense. I'm not going to address a few by a gender, not gender, but a mass. I'm going to address the character of what I'm saying. And if it falls there with you, how about you repent? If it doesn't, blessed be a high on my soul and all that's within me. Give him the praise, okay? So, like I'm saying, when we first woke up, all those other people who were scoffing and mocking wanted to judge the whole awakening, of prophecy by by the hypocrisy. But see, that can't be so because even when Messiah was on the earth, the true Messiah, the Savior, he was being in opposite. He was being opposed by those very things. So at the end of the day, we got to take heed to how that we're going to have scoffers of our own and scoffers of the other nations. But the focus must always be, I need to allow him to continue to bring that lively work within me so that the perfection of the entirely wanting nothing can manifest. And so that I can reach that. So I can have my, because he's going to show his gems off. He wants to show us off. All right. So behold, they shall surely gather. He says, surely they're going to gather. In other words, don't think that it's not going to happen. They're going to do these kind of things, right? But not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. And guess what? Here goes Romans 8:28. For all things are together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So called, which means he elected. When we're going to get something deeper. Romans 8. Let's go to Romans 8 really quick. He said, for thy sake they shall fall, which means though it was supposed to hinder you, though it was supposed to hurt you, it's not going to. It's not going to perform what it was intended to do. I want to show you all something really quick, beloved. Not really quick. I want to show you something, beloved brothers and sisters. All right, Romans 8. Now, verses 1. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Messiah Yeshua, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. In other words, who walk in the word, not in dead works, but by the Spirit of the word. For the law, shut that door. Thank you. Please, I didn't mean to say it like that. For the law of the Spirit of life in the Messiah Yeshua. For the law of the Spirit of life. So the law is a spirit of life. Because he told us with Moses, look, take heed, I set before you life and death. Therefore choose life. But what was he bringing before them? The law. Right? Spirit of life and Messiah, Yeshua, have made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the Torah law could not do in the flesh, and it was made weak through the flesh. See, Ahia sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh. This is why we don't glorify the son. I mean, like the son, like to say, as in Jesus outside of the, like, help me, Father, make this clear for them. As people say, like as if they always worship the man, but they don't see that the man was sent in the likeness of sinful flesh. But guess what? In his likeness of sinful flesh, by the spirit of him who sent him, he fulfilled it. So what we're gonna understand is that is our example, that though we are in likeness of sinful flesh, because what? First of all, we're made of earth. All right. So by us being fleshly, through his spirit, we can fulfill the law as well as he did. And even the son said, all go to the Father. If he comes with another report, speaking of himself, then his report is false. In other words, what you got to identify there is that if there's another, because he was giving you clues on how to identify the false one, who he warned us about in Matthew 24, which comes after him, and he talking like him, but not really like him, because he's trying to use the true one's word. So what we got to understand is that that's a part of our suffering. See, if even the Messiah's very essence of who he was taken from him, his identity, his truth was given to another image, and his garments was parted, so was his people. When we look at the word, we're able to see the real from the fake. Okay, because the word always gives glory to the Father, because the word testifies of the Father, because what the word is the word of the Father. All right. All right, for what the Torah law could not do, it was weak through the flesh, Ahia sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh, for sin condemned sin in the flesh. So when he was crucified, he was condemning the works of death, the dead works applied to. No, we cannot operate in sin. We got to destroy sin, and by destroying it, we put in subjection our members. Verses 4, that the righteousness of the Torah law might be fulfilled in us. The might is, how are you going to yield? Or how are you going to combat the flesh? How are you crucifying your flesh? How are you presenting your living sacrifices? Is it presentable? Is it acceptable? All right. Okay, might be filled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. Not saying that, okay, let me take care of my bills. I gotta write down my things for the grocery store. See, that's not minding things of the flesh. Minding things of the flesh is being taken in mind by the flesh. It's meditating on things of the flesh, letting it overwhelm your day and overcome you. I don't take thought of what I need. In other words, I don't think of or present my order in my life, but it doesn't really run me. I know I'm just doing my business, just like when I was out there in my neighborhood. After my mom and I went to the park to minister the word and began to not let the grill being taken overwhelm my day. As I was being a minister and discipling for my father in my neighborhood, in my old hood, he was working on the thief, condemning and convicting the thief, that they couldn't even go to bed without texting me at 9 p.m. last night telling me, hey, your package came. But if you're at home at 9 p.m., how do you know if a package came? It didn't tell me that the package was going to come. It said it was delivered earlier at 9 a.m. So at 9 a.m., I got the text message. Look at that, Mom. 9 a.m., I got the message it was delivered. 9 p.m., she was convicted to tell me, your package is at the house. You better come on and give me glory. Yes. Thank you, Father. I praise you, Father. I thank you. So check it out, family. We back over here at Romans 8. Right? But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. See, you're going to have peace. Okay. My mom even told me, she said, you know what, baby girl? It's got to work for your good. It's got to work for your good. Because guess what? The replaced one that's coming in the mail, it's gonna going back to the store. I'm gonna get my money for that. And the one that I'm gonna go get come first day of the week, I'm gonna have a grill. See, look at that, family. And that's not stealing, but it works for my good. Because there's other things that were sent to our home that my mom made orders with, and we had some issues. And guess what? They sent a gift to my mother. Here's a gift for you. Yeah, she sure did. Here we go. See, verse 7. But to be carnally minded is enemy against a higher, for it is not subject to the Torah law of a higher. So those who are not subject to the law, and which means servants to the word, like Paul says in Ephesians 3. Let me get that real quick. See, why do they say Gentiles? Because we have to understand that those who are not doing the word, they are considered Hellenistic. It ain't so much of really just a focus on nationality, because if a person be of another nationality, nation, and they come unto, because even Solomon said, if the stranger comes here and pray, hear thou in heaven. So if a stranger says, like Ruth did, I'm going to denounce my people, and your people will be my people, and your keeper will be my keeper, and I'm going to walk in your ways by in a real heart, genuine way, by all means, he going to hear them. And they are counted as one, for one law for the homeborn and one for the stranger. Because it's the word that we obey to that makes us sons and daughters of the Most High. That's the adoption that Paul was talking about. That we are, we're going to read more in Romans 8 concerning about groaning to get out of this vessel of flesh, the likeness of flesh, but to be adopted into the body of uncorruption. Okay, so Ephesians 3, I'm gonna try to get it in this one, so I'm gonna turn my page. Ephesians 3. Back. For this cause I, Paul, am a prisoner of the word, Yahshua the Messiah, for the sake of you Gentiles. So we are prisoners to the word, which in other words, we have to be bound to the word, to be examples, to be helpers, and to be able to be examples, like I said, for those who are not in the way. That is what definition of being the light is. All right, let me keep it there. And I'm going to go over here back to Romans 8. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God, but we are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. So though we be in this body, we're not in the body, as in we're in the word, but the word is spirit. The word is life. So we're being in the word, we're being in spirit and life, not subject to the things of the flesh. We're in the fulfillment of the word, which is the law, right? The laws. All right. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. Okay, I read that. All right. But in the spirit, verses 9, if so that the spirit, if so that be that the spirit of a higher dwell in you. If the spirit of a higher dwells in you, the spirit of the Father, because we know there's two spirits, the spirit of deception and the spirit of truth. And we know the Father, when he's out of the Son said, the word says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. He basically, I am that spirit of truth that the word says will be sent to you in comfort, because the spirit of truth will comfort us against the lies and the torment and the fear of deception. Verses 9 again, because we ain't finished it. If any man have not the spirit of the Messiah, he is none of his. In other words, they said, your mother, your father's over here. Kobe said, who was my mother, my father, but those that do the will. I don't give a John Brown what tribe they came from and what color they are, or who their mom and daddy is. If they're not in my Father, which is in spirit and his word, they are none of mine. Ooh. Verses 11, but the spirit of him that raised up, verses 10, and if the Messiah be in you, if the word be in you, remember, you cannot walk in the word in darkness if you have fellowship with him. In other words, remember we was reading in 1 John chapter 1, 6, okay? But if the Messiah, the word is in you, the body is dead because of sin. See there? But the spirit is alive because of righteousness. But the spirit of him that raised up Yahshua from the dead dwelt in you. He that raised up the Messiah from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. So your quickening is supposed to be in the now. Every day I rise, I wake up to wake up. I break off to shake off. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh, but to live after the flesh. So we don't supposed to be living our life fulfill our own desires, but the desires of him who lives in us. And by us fulfilling his desires, he working all things through us. He calls us to be triumphant in him. We're gonna get the victory. No one can speak death against life. No one can bring darkness to light. No one can overwhelm and conquer light. He already overcame the world. That's why my one brother said, when I go onto the scene, if the devil is busy at work, I'm putting you out of business. I'm shutting you down. I'm sorry, we shutting this down like as if you didn't pass the something inspection. Because the kingdom of the Most High has come nigh unto you. For if we live after the flesh, ye shall die. See there? Death is only a fear. Death comes from sin. Sin brings fear and torment. So this is how the victorious one. That's why he said, where is your sting, O death, and where is your grave at? I got out the water. That was my grave. It's appointed for man to die once. Once. Now, if I leave this present realm, I'm sleeping. But I'm not dead. This is why he lives. And we don't need no little first Sunday or Easter, whatever, to celebrate he's risen. Our life's supposed to show you he's definitely risen and he's alive in us. Verse 13, for if we live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. That means discipline yourself, discipline your mouth. First of all, your thoughts. If your thoughts are disciplined, then your mouth will fall in line. And if your mouth is in line, your whole body's going to fall in line, because James told us that. See, the tongue is unruly. Keep your mouth shut. It ain't unruling nothing. For as many are as led by the spirit of Ahiah, they are the sons of Ahiah. Those who are led by the spirit. So if you're not led by the spirit, I don't give a John Brown what white, what fringes, what color you're not wearing, what color you are wearing, what your channel talking about, what you did in your past life, what ministries you got operating going on, what programs you have you offering. You ain't none of his. But don't be discouraged. Simply just confess that, hey, you know what? I wasn't walking by the spirit. And I'm tired of walking in death. So I'm going to now walk in life. So therefore, he can live in me. For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear. See, sin is of bondage. Remember, what is the first thing he said in verse 1 of Romans 8? There is no condemnation. So if I'm not condemned, I don't have baggage. I don't have bondage. I'm not a slave. I'm not a servant to that. I'm not a servant to death. I'm a servant to life. Prisoner to the word, Ephesians 3. But ye have received the spirit of adoption. See that? Whereby we cry, Abba, Father. And listen, pay attention. The spirit itself bears witness with our spirit. What spirit? If you receive the spirit, it means you receive the Father. The Father knows how to commune within the body of what's going on in it, because he goes around, like when he showed me the dream, walking behind the gate, seeing through. The spirit sees through. He knows of our through our suffering. He sees through our heart. He knows what the situation is. We don't really always know sometimes the cause of our pain and problems and struggles and issues. He does. And he's walking behind the gate like real smooth with it. Matter of fact, while it was on its way, I already knew it was coming. That's why I got some on top of the towers ready to shoot at it before it even get that close to my gate. Because he said it would not come nigh us. And if children, then heirs. Check this out. Heirs of Ahiah. You on Yeshua status now. You're on the fulfillment status, in other words, because Yeshua is the first begotten of the fulfilling one by presenting his body a living sacrifice, crucifying the flesh. And of a higher and joint heirs with the Messiah. See there? Joint. See that? See that? Doesn't that give you a new mind of confidence? Doesn't that narrow your prayer life? As not, Father, if you show it, Father, I speak right now that if this be, that this, according to your will, that it shall go forth and this shall bow. Right? If so that we suffer with him, see, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. It's really not. For the earnest expectation of the creature, listen to this, the earnest expectation of the creature, notice, what is a creature? It's not a son. It's actually subject to the word. What I mean as in, the heirs create. So the creature is a manifestation of the sons and daughters. Let there be this, let there be that. So the creatures are what? Earnestly, where was I at? Verse 18? No, 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of Ahiah. So we got, like I said, in my neighborhood, my hood, they're waiting for the manifestation of sons and daughters to come where they're at, to bring them life, to bring them hope, to bring them the light. They've already seen death. They already know sin. They're already familiar with condemnation. It doesn't need to be, oh my God, look at that girl. Oh my goodness, you see that? It needs to be, Father, deliver, breakthrough. I commit. Hey, sister, you're a queen. Don't address yourself like that, sister. Sister, you are precious. Sister, you are loved. Sister, you've been bought with a price. Do you know your worth? Oh, I like that beautiful green chain you got on, but you're worth more than that. You spoil your car around, you're worth more than that. Guess what? Your car has not a soul, but you do. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjugated the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Ahiah. Going from sons of Adam, sons of men, to sons of Ahiah. That's why when we read about Yeshua, the word being called son of Adam, that was saying, identifying the likeness of sinful flesh. The likeness of sinful flesh. That's what it was identifying. Oh, but when he fulfilled it, what was he in the likeness of? The likeness of the Son, the Father, the Word, the glory. He was in his glory. Back from the very beginning, he started from the beginning. See? Of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Ahiah. For we know that the whole creation groaneth. The whole creation. Hurricanes, earthquakes, animals, roaming and raging out of their habitations, being vexed. Even the atmosphere, all things the Most High created, because the wicked ones are on the planet, right on the earth, trying to, all they were intending to do was destroy. It ain't just the people we got to concern ourselves. It's the animals and the creation groaning. So the creation is communicating. As it also told us that, look here. That's why even if I'm not saying, I'm saying, and I'm crying and I'm just praying, or I'm just in prayer and I don't know what to say. But my pain is so heavy. I feel the quickening of the bone, like a boiling of just even you communicate to him. Because a baby, when it first begins to come into the world and stuff, it cries. Then mommy learns the cry. So the father knows what your groanings mean. This is why it says the earth shall help the people, because the earth is going to groan as a testify against the wicked servants and rulership. It's going to show that there's the wicked rule. that there's not righteous ones ruling. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. We say until now, because you know why? Because it's a manifestation of some sons and daughters being manifested. So it's like they're crying. So we're like, the sons are like here. And it's just like, you know how the baby be before you get real quiet. And eventually it falls asleep. That rest that was established before the sin of Adam and Eve came forth, and all creation was off course. But and not only they, but ourselves also. See this, which had the first fruits of the spirit. Why I say we have the first fruits? Because he called his nation to himself first. Even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for the adoption to wit, the redemption of the body. See there, see there. We don't need to be bragging about some stuff after being up after the flesh. We want to get out of this. We want to be in our glorified body. That's what the power. But see, the power is in the quickening to that focus. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope for what man seeth. Why do if he had hope for? But if we hope for that we see not, then we do with patience wait for it. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought. But the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. You can't even. It's like I'm telling you, it's like babies. When you ask a person to groan, it's not the same as communication. It's not the same as a language. It's sounds of expression. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of high. Who makes intercession? The living word. Why? Because he's in there. So by him being in there, he has all the idea what's going on. Why? Because guess what? The very sufferings that you're suffering are his sufferings. So you actually don't have no sufferings. You're enduring his sufferings as well as he's enduring yours. He's endured ours, and he's still enduring ours. And we know verse 28. All things work together for the good of them that love Ahia, to them who are called according to the purpose. And for whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of the Son. So it means he already knew who, like he said, I already foreknew who was going to deceive me or betray me. And as well as that means he also knows those who were not going to betray him. So if he foreknew you, he predestined you. It means you're destined to gonna get the victory. You're going to get to this point where it's going to be under your feet. And them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. Again, no condemnation. Who justified him? He did. Who? The reigning, living, true word, the living word. Yeshua, the Savior. And whom he justified, then he also glorified. Once you're justified, let the glory of the Most High arise and shine upon you, for the glory of the Most High has arisen upon you, beloveds. And what shall we say to these things? If Ahia be for us, who really can be against us? Who can will we suffer loss? Because no, we're not gonna suffer loss because all things come together work together for good. It means if something was taken from me, I wasn't supposed to have it. If something was given to me and I didn't want it, maybe I was supposed to. Y'all, another testimony. When I was come on that one day, there was something I had called I didn't want because I thought it was a fireplace, but it was actually an insert. I called Wayfair, told him, hey, listen, I don't need this. I almost made a mistake, pardon me. Guess what? The lady said, ma'am, it is canceled. I don't know how it got there. I said, oh, stand still, ma'am. I said, this was my father. He did this. I said, all things work together for the good of those who love him and call according to purpose. I said, you go and guess what? It had to be a sister on the phone too. So praise the Father was a sister, wasn't, somebody was going to be, oh my gosh, like, let me make sure I do my job to an extra sloop. Like, no, I don't need you to interfere with my blessing, okay? It's here now, and guess what? You're not going to charge me because it's already canceled. If I called and said I didn't want it, you say that's not my problem, right? And praise the Father because He knows I got I like that I got hardwood floor, so I wanted some heat. So there we have it. Boom, because I didn't want to run my oil. Anyhow, praise the Father for that, and that came through. So that's the third thing this week, Mom. That we got the victory as my mommy received a free gift.
I did.
I got the insert fireplace and I put at the bottom of my shoe shelf and the grill. Come on and lifting. All right. So he that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all. So he basically said he gave a sacrifice for us. The Most High wasn't going to present a sacrifice that was not going to be perfect and acceptable. So now that we have an acceptable sacrifice, we good. There it goes when when Isaac said, Father, where is the sacrifice? He said, hold on, son. The Most High shall provide a sacrifice. Did he not? Did he not prepare himself a body? Everybody come on and lift him. Amen. This is why you're justified. You're justified by his sacrifice. The Father's perfect, pure sacrifice. Nobody can't tell you nothing. Nobody can't take nothing from you. When you're born again, you are his child. And that overrides your own parents. I'm not disrespecting. I'm talking about if your parents be not in him, he said, I'm a father and a mother to the fatherless. And when your mother and father forsake you, I'm there. That's to my young little ones in this truth. Yeah. All right. Who shall lay anything to your... Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I ain't trying to skip nothing now. Deliver him for us all. How shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Let me see. With him, by him being within us, that means with him in us, he will give us all things. Shut that door, please. Who shall lay anything to the charge of a highest elect? It is a higher that justifieth. Who is he that condemneth? In other words, who is he though? He's nobody. He's defeated. He's a coward. He's a loser. That's who, or it's a she, whichever you want to manifest. It's a nothing. Say with me. Nothing. Not nothing. Nothing. Put a fin in there. That's right, Mama. Your ukulele. It's in your toy box. That brown toy box.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. Wait. Sorry. Go back up. I skipped something, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Where is it, Mom?
I think you're in 34.
Okay. Who is he that condemneth? Yep, it is the Messiah that died. Yeah, rather, that is risen again. Who is even at the right hand of a high? And want to know why it says, who is he that condemneth? Because when people, back in our days, when we were presenting sacrifices, even if you gave a lamb, somebody like the priests, the hypocrites, which are the Pharisees, would say, well, I know you gave that sacrifice, but I'm going to need you to kind of like, adding stuff to the law, like adding extra stuff that's unnecessary, burdens, to try to push that person's condemnation. Or say your lamb was, okay, well, I'm doing the work right now, son.
What box is it?
Keep looking, son.
What about that?
That's that brown one. Yeah, Mom, the brown one right there.
Where?
Okay. Rather is okay. It is the Messiah that died, yet rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of a higher, who also maketh intercession for us. So he already justified us. And then in between time, in the meantime, he added interest of intercession to the justification. Y'all can't lose out here. Talk about something you ain't perfect. You a liar. Because he said, "Hey, take here, this is my body, which is broken for you. My body's perfect. So I'm giving you my perfect body, exchange for your imperfection. Now, if I take that, it's going to automatically come out perfect because I'm a creator. And I got to take that which is broken and not and without and void, and I'm going to bring it life. And if it don't comply, it's cursed because I won't be made a liar." That's what he said in his word. Now, who shall separate us from the love of Messiah? Tribulation, which means you're going to have testing of tribulation, distress. You have testing of distress. And what is it doing? It's to test you if you're going to be separated from his love. Is it going to pull you from his word? No. Why? Because even if I'm weak, he's made strong. And that's right. When I'm weak, I'm strong. So as I'm a little weak right now, he's interceding on my weakness. That's the strength. His intercession on my weakness. I can't lose. There's only winning on this side. How about persecution? Absolutely not. When we're persecuted, that's rewards. Thanks. No, really, thanks. This is why I say I thank those who are coming with the nonsense. Because when you become absolutely nothing, then I know I grow. I need you just for my step. So without enemies, come on now. Get in position. Or famine. No, because famine's a liar. Or is it temporarily? It's got to be because, see, I'm not going to lack no good thing. That means even if I was naked and I was on an island somewhere or just had like a linen garment, chains and shackles, what I got? Eternal life. You think, well, that's just doing this. That's good. Guess what, beloveds? He can visit you while your flesh be without garments. He can warm you up. If he can keep us in a fiery furnace, Abraham and the three Hebrew boys, if he can keep them in a fiery furnace from their flesh being consumed from fire, he can keep you from being cold. He's your blanket. He's your covering. You better know what time it is up here. Or nakedness. No, that covers the last one we just did. Peril, which is like infections and all that kind of stuff. What's going on now? No. And guess what? Why is it questioning? Because they're using peril to try to separate us. They're trying to use peril there's a COVID vaccination. I mean, there's a virus out here that you're going to need to get this as a solution for. See, when a person has a problem or when they present a problem, they want to also be the one to act like they can present the solution, just to separate from his love. But I'm all the way whole though. I'm all the way good. No. Or sword. Not even death. Because you only destroying the body, but I'm not living. I'm not in this body. I'm in spirit. So you just release me from the adoption. I mean, you just help me get there quicker. And even if they kill me, he can still make me stand back up like when they was, I think it was Stephen, they stoned. He got back up after they stoned him to death. When is Stephen mom?
No.
Who that was?
Maybe Paul.
Paul.
They thought Paul was dead.
See there? Verse 36, as is written, for thy sake, we are killed all the day long. So in other words, these are the things we died to. That's why we're already dead. So how you gonna kill something that's dead? You're not even doing nothing. Nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. We conquer in these things. Because if a person's already dead to sin, when you try to present sin to them to cause them to fall, they will let you know, I'm going to just conquer you. This is just my next elevation. Thanks. For I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Ahia, which is in the Messiah, shall our master, our word. Our master is the word. That's what rules us. And what rules us is life and light. We can't lose. So there we have it, beloved brothers and sisters. I know I have done Romans 8 on here several times, but I feel like this every time I read it, he gives me new stuff, and I'll be just like so thrilled to share with you all. And that was a great revelation breakdown he gave me on my island of persecution. And so I just wanted to come on and share that with you all. If there is any questions, comments, concerns, this is definitely the time to do so. I want to thank you all for tuning in. If there is anyone who is new to the channel, as I just subscribed, I want to say again to you, thank you for your subscriptions. Even to my old subscribers, thank you for your loyalty in times that you see me go through it all, and you still took it out. Even times when it could look like you were like, oh, where's she going with this? But you still had faith. You had hope against hope. I want to thank you for that. And I just pray the Most High continually increase us all in this beautiful time that we are in His patience concerning His work entirely be making us perfect. Oh, hey, brother Jock. I heard how to say your name now from watching your video. You all support our brother Jack. He has Jock. He has some beautiful videos. He definitely did, and I love and respect your perspective. I want to say right now, brother, that I see that you are the kind of brother that wants to, even if you're just that one amongst 50, trying to get attention and say, hey, we're all not the same. We're not. I want you to know that there were women, sisters out here that never thought that y'all all were the same. We never gave up hope on our men, and we're not going to. It doesn't matter how many frogs or wicked ones are out here. They're not going to destroy the essence of the true ones. Because even when I had a situation with an individual before, you came on and said, sister, I want to apologize on behalf of what that mess was, because we're not all like that. So I know that's really your heart. And I just want to say to you, brother, I thank you. You continue to be that light and that pillar for our nation, a standard of truth against the liars out there. Okay. Just want to say that to you. Oh, that's all right, brother. If you was busy, long as you were listening, that's all I asked for, ear and a pure heart, and the Father is going to do the rest. So thank you for listening, and thank you all for tuning in. And I just want to go ahead and let this stream go. Well, if there's any questions or comments, I'll give you some more time to do so. Want to say thank you, babies, in the background, to my princesses and my princes who were listening, learning today. Proud of you all. We're going to make it more relevant for the children. You know, got to make it more relevant for the children. Oh, thank you, babies. Love y'all. All praise and glory and honor to a higher name of Yeshua.
Look, here comes the main one saying that you say Zebediah?
Hi, Zebediah. I said princesses and princes, yo.
Zebediah.
Yeah, for bringing it together. Thank you for bringing it together in the end. All right. We ain't going to be doing silly stuff. Okay. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yep. So like I said, y'all check our brother out. You know, and let's support each other. And let's not support each other, pray for each other, intercede for each other, keep each other lifted up, and not be timid to give rebukes in love. Give rebukes in love. Okay. All right, y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all Sabbath rest. Peace and blessings to you all.